Good afternoon, Session Chair Dr. Muhammad Abdul Adib bin Abd Aziz and colleagues. My name is Niputu Widenirma Dewi. Today I will present the findings of my research, the impact of green supply chain management on sustainable development goals, a case study in energy sector of PT PJP. The rapid pace of technological development and the expansions of urban areas have triggered a surge in electricity demand. Projections from Energy Information Administration show that global energy will continue to rise potentially by 50% by 2050. However, the increase in consumption has harm effects, particularly on environmental issues. This is because coal-fired power plants and diesel power plants produce harmful pollutants or emissions, including sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and particulates. These emissions harm ecosystem and significantly hinder the achievement of sustainable development goals. Indonesia is presently positioned 78 among 190 member states of the United Nations, attaining a score of 96.43 out of 100. This indicates that Indonesia is in a significant position in its efforts towards sustainable development goals. According to Sembiring et al. 2023, companies can adopt green supply chain management practices to support the achievement of SDGs, which aim to reduce their environmental footprints and advocate environmentally conscious strategies. The present study concerned PT PJP, a private company under Freeport-McMoRan, tasked in generating and distributing electricity for PT Freeport Indonesia. This company operates a steam power plant, a diesel power plant, and a dual fuel power plant, totaling 72 units. Nevertheless, the integration of SDGs within PT PJP has yet to reach its full potential, as the organization is currently focused on refining its incorporation into its operational practices. The energy sector has a different characteristic and challenges compared to the manufacturing sector or mining sector, so further research is needed to understand how green supply chain management can be optimized in this context and how it can effectively support PT PJP's sustainable development goals. Based on the background that I have explained, the problem statement is that green supply chain management practices impact sustainable development goals, particularly on the environmental and community practices of PT PJP. And the research objective is to determine the impact of green supply chain management practices on sustainable development goals, particularly on PT PJP's environmental and community practices. Next, I employed several theories to support and strengthen the analysis and findings obtained. The critical theories used in this study include operation management, supply chain management, green supply chain management as the independent variable, and sustainable development goals as the dependent variable. The conceptual framework of this study was adapted from previous research by Juma 2023. Hypothesis 1 to Hypothesis 5 discussed the impact of green supply chain practices on environmental practices, while Hypothesis 6 to Hypothesis 10 explored the effects of green supply chain management practices on community practices. This study is a quantitative research that uses PT PJP as the unit of analysis where data is collected and analyzed. The study population consists 555 employees with a sample size of 102 individual. Data from 125 respondents were used in the analysis. The sampling technique employed is non-probability sampling with purposive sampling. This research utilized descriptive analysis and structural equation modeling, or PLSM, that is divided into outer model analysis, inner model analysis, and hypothesis testing. Additionally, importance performance map analysis is also used in this study. In this study, 57 questions were evaluated using a Likert scale ranging from 1 strongly agree to 5 from 1 strongly agree to strongly disagree to 5 strongly agree. Based on the descriptive analysis, all green supply chain management indicators falls into the good category. Next, a SAM-PAL-S outer model was conducted using SMART-PAL-S. Several indicators were found invalid because this study is a replication and the previous studies were conducted in the mining sector, while this study focuses on the electricity sector. Therefore, some indicators are not applicable or less relevant to this study. As a result, a trimming process was conducted to remove invalid indicators. After removing invalid indicators, all indicators meet the criteria for loading factor and AVE. After the convergent validity test, a discriminant validity test was performed. In this test, all indicators were deemed valid as they met the criteria of Warnell-Lacker, cross-loading, and HTMT. Finally, a reliability test was conducted and all indicators met the reliability criteria, Cronbach alpha, and composite reliability. Thus, all indicators are valid and reliable. The next step was the inner model test. The first step is to test the path coefficients, and it was found that all hypotheses have a positive influence except for hypothesis 3 and hypothesis 10. The second step is to test the R-square, and it was found that community practices are influenced by independent variables by 72.7%, which is moderate, and environmental practices are influenced by independent variables by 96.4%, which is also moderate. The third step is to test the predictive relevance, and it was found that the Q-square indicates that the model is highly predictive of the endogenous variable environmental practices, while the Q-square indicates that the model is highly predictive of the endogenous variable for community practices. After testing the outer model and inner model, hypothesis testing was conducted using path coefficient, test statistic, and p-values. And it was found that all GSGM practices positively and significantly impact environmental practices except for green purchasing and eco-design. Additionally, all GSGM practices also positively and significantly impact community practices except for internal environmental management and investment recovery. Here are the IPMA result for the environment practices variable, where IPMA is divided into 4 quadrants. We're focusing on quadrant 1, which shows the practices with high importance and performance that need to be maintained, including investment recovery, which are ER1, ER2, and ER3. Similarly, here are the IPMA results for the community practices that is also divided into 4 quadrants, and we're focusing on quadrant 1, which shows practices with high importance and performance that need to be maintained for quality, including green purchasing, which are GP3, GP5, and GP4. Based on the research finding discussed earlier, the following recommendations are proposed. For the company can optimize investment recovery by implementing a buyback program, collaborating with the same supplier to repurchase unused asset at a specific price. The company can also optimize green purchasing by labeling its product as eco-design and using equipment or buildings that is certified by Energy Star. Additionally, the company can educate the local community on the importance of energy efficiency. For future research, first, this research limits the use of Sustainable Development Goals variables to only dimensions of environmental and community practices. Future research is encouraged to consider including additional dimensions such as economic practices. Additionally, research who continue the study with the same object and use the same model may consider using a qualitative methodology and using qualitative methodology, research can development strategies and action plan for the company through depth interviews, observations, and content analysis. That's all from me. Thank you.